Hello my dear friends and learners, I am Dr. Devrat Bral and today we will discuss on the MOOC module called Media and Socialization. So, let us begin with the learning outcomes. The first outcome is to comprehend the significance and meaning of media socialization. The second outcome is to describe the roles that mainstream and alternative media play in socialization. Third learning outcome is to analyze the functionality of media in the socialization process. The fourth outcome will be to assess the dysfunctionality that media can introduce into the socialization process. So, after getting a sense of what the learning outcomes of this MOOC module, let us get a sense of the learning plan of this module. So, we have 5 sections. The first section will talk about the interrelationship between the media and society. The second section will go into an analysis or a review of the traditional conventional media, the alternative media and how does it impact. And then we will go into a review and analysis about the more functionality of how media and society are correlated, and then we will go into a critical review about the impact of mediatization or media in the contemporary world. So, now let us begin with the introduction. The idea of mediatization is now receiving recognition. It simply refers to the effects that changing media and communication have on society and culture. Two key components of the media are communication and information. Communication media can either support or oppose the existing norms and values. In terms of socialization, this twin process is crucial for educating, increasing awareness and orienting people to a larger society. The traditional forms of media, television, movies, music, magazines, website, etc., were influencing society and people's behavior, or as we might say, acting as a socializing agent, to name a few. Socialization is a lifelong process of acquiring meanings, context for understanding the social world, interpersonal behavior, role set, duties, role expectations and intended and accepted behavioral patterns. With time and place, socialization patterns change. Yes, they do. Socialization provides us with different frame of references. Socialization has always been crucial for assimilating into society on a very functional level. It instills in new members the principles, objectives, visions that are shared by societal member. Here, socialization is crucial because it affects how meanings are transmitted or ingrained. This has been exclusively positive connotation placed on the socialization process, such when like Alex Enkel's claims it is inherently looking forward. This socialization process aided individuals in assimilating into various social structures, including feudal, capitalist and industrialist. However, it is debatable whether this blending with the larger social concept serves the individual's aspirations for personal development. However, academic researchers frequently ignore this aspect. Understanding socialization process is emphasized more than understanding its effects. A variety of formal and informal structure as well as other factors have an important part to play in the socialization process. For example, family, neighborhood, educational institutes, government, legal structures, mass media, globalization, westernization, colonization or the more contemporary decolonization are just a few of the complex factors that affect and govern people today. Now, let us go to the second theme. The second theme is about getting a sense of what media socialization is all about, an outline. So, today most people get their information and entertainment from the print media such as newspapers, magazines, books or from electronic media such as television, radio, the internet, website and music. One's belief and behaviors are directly or indirectly shaped and conditioned by this consumption. Yes, it is a consumption. In other words, this digital and mass media, social media platforms socialized in line with that. Socialization is a simple idea, but it has multifaceted and political connotation. There are various ways to conceptualize it. The first is that socialization is the internalization of values which serve as a social function. Yes, as per Parsons. Later in life, this early socialization is focused on adhering to adult responsibilities. Adult socialization, however, builds on the internalization that children have already experienced. Now, let us go to the second point. The symbolic interactionists challenge the internalization hypothesis. They argue or they held that the situational approach is more pertinent because people adapt to their surrounding. To put it in another way, socialization is a process that results in specific effects. There is a dearth of thorough research on media exposure and how it affects people. The role and effects of media are covered in two systematic studies. One of the effects of media exposure is in socialization, which has different functionality. Therefore, we must concentrate on the concepts and systems that media penetrates. Again, the role of media in socialization can be traced at two levels. First, it reinforces existing values and attitudes, and by serving as a source of norms and values which offer solution to personal problem. And lastly, the self-socialization aspect of media. It cannot be undermined. Unlike parents or school socialization, young adults choose their choice of media, which in terms also socializes them. Media is a crucial part of socialization in this digital era. Yes, we are in a very different society. We are transitioning from a more personal to a more digital platforms. So, in this era, it can see that media affects almost everyone's comprehension and behavioral patterns, including those of children, adolescents and adults. It is impossible, it is really impossible to overstate the influence of media on people's action and their development of the worldview. The term, some new terms have emerged, the terms like digital natives and digital immigration indicate the significance of online digital platforms in changing people's lives and their behaviors. Those born after 1980 are referred to as digital natives, which implies the effects of the internet on the learning and social interaction. It may also refer to a technological savvy generation whose preferred methods of learning differ from those of differential or traditional education, or the incorporation of these digital tools and platforms into people's daily lives. Similarly, or similar to this, there is a concept of a new term called digital outsider, which refers to someone who uses technology infrequently and is generally anxious about it. Sometimes, loosely people may be of different reasons, different situations, they are not able to adapt. So, they are called maybe outsider. Again, the new term like digital natives has the drawback of overgeneralizing one generation while ignoring its differences in terms of its access, education, skills and orientation. I hope you are having a good time in listening to different ideas, different narratives, different concepts. Now, let us begin with the third subsection. The third subsection is called mainstream media, alternative social media and socialization. In order to understand and comprehend socialization, kinship structures are typically extensively studied. Kinship and non-kin relationship are both a part of the socialization process. Mass media, social media and other forms of media are non-kinship structures, but they are very crucial to understand socialization. Media can be broadly divided into two categories. One is called the mainstream media and second is the alternative media. Though newspaper and broadcasting services, the mainstream media initially had access to a sizable portion of society. However, the alternative media such as online and digital have recently experienced a phenomenal growth. Both traditional and alternative media influence the socialization processes. But in recent years, socialization has largely been influenced by online platforms. The emergence of BBS, that is Bulletin Board System, in the 1980s marked the beginning of social media for downloading files, games, etc. However, there wasn't much interactions on these platforms. the less attention was paid to the callers on the other end of the line. However, it sparked interest in this form of communication, which later paved the way for the creation and popularity of websites like classmates.com. Yes, what we are trying to do is a kind of an overview of the social history of how the entire digitalization and social media evolved. Here, individuals could establish networks based on shared educational experiences. Similar platforms have existed in other parts of the world. For example, Orlansky was well liked in Russia and other Russian speaking nations like Georgia, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan and Ukraine. Email was a significant tool for social and business communication in the 1990s. Emails were revolutionary because they could travel through space and time and reach a person in a matter of seconds. But the majority of socialization, direct and indirect, took place online. Yes. However, one can also observe the necessity and success of the online platform like 6degrees.com during the same decade. However, the introduction of websites like Fedster in the 2000 marked the beginning of the social media revolution. However, such platforms such as LinkedIn, which marketed itself as a professional networking site, also emerged in addition to networks for friends. The like button on Facebook became a status symbol for users in the same decade that the Facebook.com was launched. The user base has been expanding exponentially. There has been a rush to gather likes. Twitter saw the emergence of the hashtag culture around the same time in 2006. And all of a sudden, there was an explosion of different online platforms, including Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, and others. Additionally, during this time, photo and video sharing apps like Instagram and Snapchat, dating apps like Tinder, and messaging apps like WhatsApp were introduced. There has been a rush to sign up for and use these social media and mass media platforms. These platforms influence is undeniable. These platforms were both functional and dysfunctional at the same time. Now, after getting a sense of the entire social history and overview, it will be interesting to now look at the positive aspect or maybe the functional side of media and its impact on the entire socialization process. So, let us go to the fourth module, that is called Media and Socialization, the functional perspective. The early stages of socialization are primarily indoctrinated by the family. A person's personality is ultimately determined by the information they choose to consume, whether it comes from traditional media, social media or digital media. Due to the limited scope of children's political perspective, it is possible to teach children about political attitudes and beliefs through the media. As a result, the media can play a significant role in promoting and facilitating attitudes and belief systems that are beneficial for the entire society. Even if it can also cultivate traits that advance one's development as a person. Now, let us see in specific details how does it impact. First, the media has an incredible impact on the socialization process, or more specifically, political socialization. Media has evolved from being merely a rhetorical tool and has gotten involved in complex spheres of social life. By focusing on the discussions surrounding the effectiveness of government, economic development and anti-corruption behavior, media can help strengthen democratization processes and promote social inclusion. Second, though social mobilization, media also encourages social and political change. For instance, television, radio and print media all run campaigns against dowry, sexual abuse, corruptions and public display of affection, etc. The emergence of petitions, signature drives and hashtags like hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag Me Too, hashtag March for Our Lives, hashtag Say Her Name, hashtag Time's Up, hashtags Women's March, or hashtag Power to the People, etc. in the alternative media has made a significant contribution to raising awareness, promoting democratization, and addressing discrimination. The values of accountability, transparency, and integrity can also be promoted through media. The media encourages politically and socially aware citizens. Third, additionally, in early adulthood, media helps with religious socialization also. Religiosity may be influenced by identification with someone who associates religion with either positive or negative connotations. Parents and religious leaders may provide guidance regarding the benefits of a religious life, but unfortunately, R-rated movies or films may cast doubt on its attractiveness. This kind of media or movies might not define religion, but they might dismiss it as an unimportant, irrelevant, or of a secondary nature. It may have an impact on how important religion is in daily life and how much it is practiced. Fourth, the media also helps to keep social order in place. It educates members on the significance of larger political goals such as democracy, among other things. It promotes familiarity with strangers from all over the world. Cultural value systems are becoming more internationalized. Simultaneously, the media has observed as a global watchdog. These online platforms contribute to the development of a larger society and a community by challenging the narrow view of the world through the lens of caste, religion, and so on. These platforms promote netiquette development. Isn't it an interesting term, netiquette? Yes, because of the global communication, the world is referred to as a global village. Social and personal isolation is also challenged by these communication networks. These print, electronic, and online media all serve to transmit the dominant culture. That is therefore a Herculean task to identify the cause of the mechanisms governing socialization in the age of mass media. A person's frame of reference is given by socialization. The way we act, think, and behave, for example, is the result of early and ongoing socialization. Though various frame of reference such as race, class, gender, sexual orientation, ethnicity, religion, caste, and ability and nationality, etc., influences socialization and also the places where socialization takes place. This frame of references occasionally encourage bias and othering, very skeptical, and we should be very scared about it. For instance, racism emphasizes the superiority of white skin. In society, homophobia can make it difficult for people of same-sex orientation or of a queer identity. After getting a sense of the positive and the functionality of media and its impact on socialization, let us now go into the critical aspect of media and socialization. So, let us begin with the critical perspective. Mass media has been frequently been held responsible for the rise of violence and other societal ills. The influence of the media on how people live their lives cannot be undermined. Uncomfortable aspects of media socialization include political perception, gender interpretations, and minority stereotypes. Therefore, an individual's adaptation to and integration into the society can be dysfunctional if they consume media without a critical thought or awareness. Studies have shown that media can encourage asocial behavior and social isolation. First and foremost, the plugged-in nomad model emphasized that a person can isolate themselves from society and rely solely on the information provided by the media to survive. Isn't it a new, fascinating, interesting concept, the plugged-in model? Second, their exposure to and reliable on different media platforms may put their orientation towards societal values and social order in jeopardy. For example, ongoing exposure to to an anti-government campaign can encourage mistrust of the state and of the executive branch. As a result, societal peace and harmony can be disturbed by anti-state activities. Third, social media sites can be used to radicalize people. Now you can understand why parents put child lock in TV, in phone, because it's not that the content are adult, the content can also radicalize you. This platform can be utilized by predatory groups and individuals to entice and recruit people into their cause. Friendship, acceptance and a sense of purpose serve as political tool to draw these peoples. For instance, users occasionally use Twitter and Facebook to further a particular political cause. Too much information (TMI) is also encouraged on social media. Their willingness to share personal information makes them potential victims of radicalized behavior and digital marketing. You must have heard about the term called cookies. So, you basically have a kind of a digital, a kind of a replica in the digital society or in the digital platforms. You might have searched something and suddenly you get notification that, okay, how does the online or maybe internet knows what you are searching for, maybe in different platforms. That is what is called digital marketing. They can actually see who you are, or maybe your digital footprints are already there. Now, let us go to the fourth point. Young adults are influenced by the entertainment industry to abuse and misuse drugs. For instance, watching R-rated movies raises the risk of smoking and using marijuana. Again, according to studies by Walker, drinking and drug use are correlated with exposure to and dependence on violent video games. Yes, it is just not entertainment only. Even early exposure to violent content on television can have an adverse effect on child mind. Rap music has a tendency to normalize sexualization of women and acts of violence. Gender roles and stereotypes may result from it. One very well known aspect of mass media and social media is the commodification of women's body. For the young adult who may be just stepping into the world of social media, this commodification can serve as a frame of reference, and ideal types are portrayed in the media. One of the issues that media frequently propagates is body image. Yes, a common side effect of the media's idealized body image is anorexia. Even misbehaving is presented very coolly in the media. Bollywood has long glorified and normalized stalking. The film industry has failed to recognize women consent. A girl no means yes statement have incorrectly socialized and educated young adults and teens who do not understand the significance of consent. A patriarchal mindset can perceive a hierarchical society in which women are looked down upon. Hence, socialization needs to be imparted in a politically correct and inclusive way. If the socialization imparted is biased, then we might have future citizens and individuals who can be dysfunctional to the society and might not align themselves with the larger ideas of equality and justice. Hence, a delicate and a conscious socialization needs to be institutionalized within the individuals. Now, after getting a sense of the negative impacts or the dysfunctionality of the social media, now the reason why we are talking about dysfunctionality, because we need people who can be functional, who can be positive and who can be critical in terms of contributing and channelizing their energy towards nation building, towards personality development, towards helping each other. We need a particular category of people who can be very functional and critical in the society, critical in terms of development for the society, welfare for the society. And now let us go to the last part, that is the concluding part. So, in the era of mass media, the online and digital platforms needs to be governed. Yes, it has to be. Media and its various forms play an important role in educating, sensitizing and socializing large section of society. Hence, members of the intelligence and national security communities must be actively involved and engaged in these platforms in order to address problems, social problems like cyberbullying, child pornography, scams and radicalization. In these platforms, the government should have surveillance units. It is imperative to conduct systematic research on how different social identities consume social media. The focus on research should shift away from its obsession with calculating the duration of time of media use, and rather the need for media literacy is extremely important and it is urgent. Individuals should be empowered and trained to analyze, evaluate, use and create media content rather than simply being passive recipient of mobile media, online content and its application. Media should be used as a resource. Is humanity on the verge of becoming cyborgs? Cyborgs are a category in which biology and technology merge. The growth of social media and online service have resulted in a hybridization of social relationships and social interactions. Individuals are easily switching between the physical and virtual social world. This shift in behavior is the result of social media. However, the ease with which people are slipping into and exiting out of social media highlights the success of a digital society's socialization. Thank you for listening to the module on media and socialization. Now, in retrospect, if we analyze, we started by first locating the co-relationship between media and socialization at the broader level. Second, we reviewed what media socialization is all about. We became familiar with terms and categories like digital natives and digital outsider. Likewise, we then moved to locate the social history of the online platforms. We also outlined its specific functions for its acceptance. That is what we did. As an academic, you know, we are tough to be impressed, or the glass is not always full. So, we went on to outline the functionality and dysfunctionality. Functionality in terms of political socialization by encouraging mass mobilization and initiating social and political change in maintaining social order, etc. While locating dysfunctionality in terms of radicalization, glorification of stalking, patriarchy, etc. Since as we are stepping into a digital society, the importance of media literacy cannot be undermined. And lastly, very importantly, we should remember we are not cyborgs, but human. I hope you liked listening to me, and more importantly, you got some inputs, some knowledge, some dimension in this whole module called media and socialization. Please come back again and listen to other lectures. Hopefully, you enjoyed, and thank you for listening to this module.